Historically speaking, Bitcoin tends to be topping out about 275 days after the Bitcoin halving, and that means we still have some time to go in this market, and that is why I will be discussing the imminent short term right now on Bitcoin, what I think is about to be happening next year, the most important resistance on the imminent short term right now, and much more important charts that are telling us something about what is about to be happening next year. So without any further ado, I'm going to be talking about what part of the cycle we're currently in, what is likely to be expecting in the coming 1 to 2 weeks here, what Bitcoin is currently doing in terms of price, altcoins, and much more important stuff here. So without any further ado, don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1,000 likes. That will be highly appreciated. And honestly, right now, there's just not a lot of stuff happening, and even though Bitcoin is trading around 102,000 US dollars, it seems to be that people are losing interest in crypto again here, and people are feeling like the bull market is over, and that is actually one of the most bullish things that can happen in a market, because I have said it many times before here, but what really sends Bitcoin ultimately much higher around these levels is whenever people think Bitcoin is not gonna do anything anymore. But like we can currently see here, we're clearly compressing the price action right now against that 102,000 US dollar level, which is of course a very important level of resistance on the Bitcoin Fibonacci extension. And you can see that every single time, basically, whenever we test that level, we do see major rejections. And yes, I do believe that the moment where we're going to be breaking above this level is going to be the confirmation where we're going to be seeing that next break towards the upside. And realistically speaking, the next resistance whenever we break above this level right here is going to be 120,000 US dollars. Before heading further in the video, I quickly do want to be pointing out that we are indeed creating another CME gap over the course of this weekend. And this time around, we're actually trading above it ever so slightly, because this week's CME gap is 101,000 US dollars. And yeah, if we're just looking back at all the previous CME gaps, we can see that whenever we're trading significantly above it, usually at the end of the Sunday or at the beginning of the Monday, we tend to come back here, because that is what CME gaps do like 90% of all the times here. So very interesting to be paying attention towards this. We're indeed clearly trading above it right now here, and that usually leads towards Bitcoin coming back at that end of the weekend. And since it is right now Sunday, that is likely to be expecting to be happening next on the Bitcoin price action. If I am zooming in towards the 1 hour time frame, I am starting to see that we're creating maybe a somewhat of a new compression pattern right now here. You can see on the 1 hour time frame that we are clearly creating, of course, an upper sloping resistance line and an upper sloping resistance line. And basically, whenever we're going to be seeing a breakout out any of these levels, guys, that is the point where we're going to be seeing that next breakout really take place for Bitcoin. And if you're just looking at the 4 hourly time frame right now, remove all the drones real quickly, you can see that we're clearly creating, of course, an upper sloping support line here on the lower side, and that we have been creating a downward sloping resistance line where we actually broken above of. And what you can basically also pay attention towards is potentially this level as a horizontal level of resistance, right? So we can clearly see that in general, we've been getting rejected by this level in multiple times in a row. In general, we've been creating an uptrend, and that basically means that we are creating somewhat of an ascending triangle. And the moment where Bitcoin, of course, is going to be breaking above that 102,000 US dollar level, which is, of course, also that major level on the Bitcoin Fibonacci extension, that is going to be the confirmation of the next major breakout higher for Bitcoin. And really, I've talked about it in the intro of the video. If we're going to be looking at the fact where Bitcoin is really going to be topping out, it's usually around 275 days after the Bitcoin halving. And really, it is not always exactly 275 days after the Bitcoin halving, but somewhere in that region. So this indicator is a very great indicator, which I will be using myself as well here, because after 275 days in this cycle, I'm gradually going to be taking some profits off the table, and that way I'm going to be maximizing my gains in this upcoming cycle. So now it's clearly not the time yet here, but whenever the time is going to come, I will be the first one to tell you out there on the channel, because the worst thing to do this cycle, again, is not to take any profits. And you have to understand, no one ever went broke by taking profits. And for me as well, I want to be taking profits so in the next bear market, I can accumulate significant amounts of crypto. And right now as well, if we're just looking at Bitcoin on 2024 compared to December 2023, guys, we're seeing very strong price action, and also about to be happening on the daily time frame, another bullish crossover on the MACD, which is ultimately a very bullish signal. If we're just looking at the bigger perspective on the total crypto market cap, excluding comparing Bitcoin, we are seeing a very strong crossover happening right now. And the last time that happened, altcoins really actually exploded. And of course, since it's right now weekend, we're not seeing any buys coming in from the Bitcoin spot ETF here, but just look at the massive amounts of buys ever since the end of September. We've just seen major inflows in the spot Bitcoin ETF here, and this is ultimately going to be leading towards the fact that we're going to be seeing so much buy pressure coming in here. And also with the news that MicroStrategy is entering the Nasdaq 100, we're just going to see only more and more capital flowing into crypto. And yes, whenever we're going to get a sell-off, I do believe it's going to be getting bought up very quickly. But remember that in bull markets, we always tend to get major sell-offs. But so far, we have not really got one yet. So right now as well, if we're just looking at the fact where we're currently sitting in the cycle, we're still in the middle of it all. And we're likely still to be performing extremely well here later. And if we're going to be comparing Bitcoin against the Nasdaq 100 or against the S&P 500 or against gold price action, guys, we are literally only just breaking above all-time high right now here. So ultimately, the biggest gains and the biggest bull market is still yet to come here. We're right now, compared to these other assets, once again, finally trading against an all-time high here. And that basically also proves the point that there is likely much more growing room towards the upside, because now we're just equaling the previous high of the market. So very excited for that here. And also, if we're just looking at Bitcoin, compared to 2020, whenever we were breaking above the $20,000 all-time high, right, we're seeing very similar price action happening right now on the Bitcoin chart right here. And we're just only a few days out here before it's going to be Christmas, to be exact, about 12 days here. And yeah, if it is Christmas, usually Bitcoin tends to do very well in a bull market year. So let's see how that is going to be playing out here. I'm very excited for that here. And I mean, guys, if you want to be trading Bitcoin out of anticipation for Christmas or out of anticipation of a next breakout, or whatever altcoin you can just mention, don't forget to check out Blofin in the link description of today's video, because Blofin is the best exchange where you can right now trade crypto. You can trade all the cryptos you can literally think about. They have great liquidity, and if you right now sign up an account using that link below in today's video description, you will be able to get an insane deposit bonus worth up to $100,000. So make sure to check it out in the link description of today's video. Anyways, I want to be more pointing out here the fact that likely for Ethereum, it tends to be doing better in Q1 compared to Q4. And why am I saying so is because basically in the previous bull market year as well, which was of course Q4 2020, we saw Ethereum only break its all-time high in Q1 2021. And now Bitcoin, of course, broke its high in Q4 2024. And now the expectation and consensus is that Ethereum is going to be doing so in Q1 2025 here. So I really think that Q1 2025 is going to be a great period for altcoins, and that this is, of course, honestly one of the worst timings to be fading the market. I mean, Ethereum, if we're just looking at the chart, looks to be having still a lot of room to grow here. And if you were just like me quite early with a lot of these altcoins, there is going to be a lot of money, but really a lot of money to be made. And yes, if we're just looking at this consolidation pattern here for the entire altcoin market, it really looks like we're about to be having a major explosion. And for the Bitcoin price action right now here, we're starting to see also that the global liquidity index is increasing again here. And that is ultimately one of the things here, which is going to be sending Bitcoin much higher. So Bitcoin dominance is breaking down here. Right now it's been consolidating for the last period for quite stably right now here. Altcoins not really doing much here. Bitcoin dominance really creeping up ever so slightly, but in the bigger things of it all, I am not all too worried about that here, because Ethereum is breaking the downtrend right now here. But honestly, whenever this upward sloping resistance line is getting broken, that is going to be the confirmation for me that we are heading in towards a major rally in the market. And all the data points to me here that likely the biggest altcoin season yet here is about to get started in a couple days here. So this is really a very bad timing to be fading the market, and I'm definitely also not doing so. I do want to be pointing out this chart right here, which is ultimately looking very bearish in my opinion, but as long as Bitcoin can push up here to new all-time highs, it is still looking okay here. So it's going to be crucial for Bitcoin right now to be breaking above that 102.5k level. As soon as we do so, we're going to be looking for a major breakout. We're going to be looking for a big continuation towards targets around 120 to 115,000 US dollars. That will be another 15 to 20% increase from this point. And that would ultimately be my first major target, where I would start to say, okay, maybe now I'm going to start to take profits off the table. And for me, taking profits is basically buying new stuff here. So basically buying new houses, maybe buy some new cars, that kind of stuff, you know, because I want to be cashing out in real world stuff here. Everyone has got their own strategy, maybe I will be making a new video soon here about my exit strategy. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.